Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
The national organizer of the NDC. So, yes, Elikem, what's your take?
Well, I am surprised at the submissions made by my brother Mustapha Salam that this government is, what's the word, suppressing press freedom and all of that.
You're intimidating.
Intimidating. But I am happy that this is not coming from the media saying that this government is intimidating press freedom or freedom of speech and all of that. All I see is a leadership that has failed their followers. And because they are seeking a renewal of mandate, they want to find an avenue to lean on government as reason to be re-elected. You recall comments like, chop off my head if NDC wins these elections. Then this person also say, I will relinquish my position if NDC wins. And today, where are we? So today, as we speak of this matter, I don't know if Salam is here in spirit, in human form, or as a ghost. Because if we are to go by the very dictates of the things said in the past, then we have a dead man here. Because by now he shouldn't be having a head. I have seen human beings who have been elected as leaders of the NPP who failed their grassroots and failed their followership. They refused to listen. There was a complete disconnect between them and their grassroots.
Yeah.
Because they allowed a certain leadership to disregard every stalwart, every discerning voice in their party. And permit me to just say that you have allowed Nanado and Baumia to destroy your MPP. Now you want to say that the IGP, COP Christian Yehono, was a fine gentleman. That was why he was appointed to be deputy IGP. Since when did this deputy IGP thing also come up? You think Ghanaians and the police service in general, including the IGP, didn't know that at the time you were trying to tie his hands to something that will make his work difficult? He is a mature person and knew what you were up to. So did President John Mahama and the NDC know what you were up to. And then you spoke about Asenov, that the NDC went to rooms. Moro, do you recall that one of the most reckless comments that was ever made by a president was during the Asenov by-election, where a sitting president stood before the audience, had no message for them, but only to tell them that he, as president, cannot work with Jachi Kwesin, and therefore they should not vote for him. What could be more reckless a comment than that coming from a sitting president who should know better, who is supposed to be wise by age? We tolerated all that. Now, you want to say that you are staging a Huno demonstration. Look, you can stage all the demonstrations. The NDC is very happy that there is freedom which allows you to be able to even do so. In the past, when demonstrations were being held, what did we not witness in this country? Do you recall Bobie Ansah and what happened to him? And he was taken to Nima police station and later taken to different places just because of a comment he made about the first lady. Do you recall Apia Stadium? Does Manasseh ring a bell? How about Ahmed Suale? Have you ever heard of Adeti? Do you know of Bongo Ideas? Or he's called Height? How about Sawa Bruni? Even Sami Jemfi. From the studios of Peace FM, he was put into a car and taken away. I can continue with the list. I have them here. So you should not rather be the one saying that you are serving as a dose of our own medicine. Well, let me state that as a young person, whatever was wrong yesterday, if done today, still remains wrong. If somebody, let me tell you, in fact, myself, I was even a victim. There was a time I posted something on social media regarding Prudential Bank. And I would, if they don't take care, I may say that again here today. And I will revisit that matter again. I recall I posted something about their audited account, etc. I've forgotten something. Then they quickly called the cyber unit to reach out to me. They called me multiple times to show up. I told them I was busy and I will show up later. When they eventually said if I do not show up, they were going to issue an arrest warrant on me, and I said I'll be happy to do that because I'm not sure that I'm scared of the law. Eventually, when I got there, it was that we want to confirm if you posted, if you made this post, I could have easily said no, but I need to guard myself and also test the intelligence of the very people who were actually asking me these questions. So I asked them what was the source. And if they wanted to know if I was truly the one behind it, they should go through the right processes. There, they said I was under arrest, so I should get somebody to come and bail me. I indeed called a friend nearby who came to bail me. Later, they were just admonishing, and then it became, as usual, a foolish case. Let us not, as young people, pretend to make it look as though when political power takes a turn and is not in our favor, we'll be cherry-picking because it doesn't favor us. We witnessed a lot of wrongdoings in the past 8 years. And so if today, till now as we speak, none of you have been able to even say that at least even what Baba Amando or whoever did was wrong. None of you. You recall the very reckless and irresponsible and unwarranted attacks on President Mahama by even Chairman Wontumi. Some of the things I cannot say here, where he even impugned so many forms of molestation and pedophilia against even the president, against his own daughter. Not a single one of you was able to even say that this was wrong. And today here you are saying that somebody is on rooftops screaming. It is rather you doing these things. When it is wrong, let us be bold enough to say that it is wrong. Tomorrow, the police, the judges. Has President Mahama made any significant changes to the judges and the police service since he came? These are the very people you used to hound the then opposition. Suddenly you are saying that when you go to some of the courts, they tell you that, Judge Wade, hey, then you were probably, you had hearing impairment at the time you were in power, that you never knew all of this. So if you are saying that we are feeling bad because we have promised to reset Ghana and we have failed, look, conduct any test today and even conduct it tomorrow. President Mahama and the NDC is still enjoying goodwill of the people because of the great things he is doing. That is why I'm saying that I am not bothered. If this ehunu or suppression was coming from, or allegation of suppression was coming from the media, from other CSOs, etc., I would have given it some thought and given it some attention. But this is an opposition that has not found a single scandal to latch onto in 15 months. They have tried so hard. President Mahama, Attācks, and all the appointees are doing too good that you can't find anything to latch onto. You promised Ghanaians one district, one factory. How many factories have you left in Ghana since after you left office? You promised them one village, one dam. How many dams did you build? You promised 1 million per constituency. How many constituencies did you give the million to? One constituency, one ambulance. 75% of those ambulances are by wayside mechanics. National Cathedral. A president could think that he could scam the Almighty God. And there were men of God there with double identity who were taking left and right. Agenda 111, which was initially, government will build 56 hospitals or 58 hospitals in some few months. Then it was not possible. Then it became before we leave office. Then it became Agenda 111 hospitals. How many were you able to even complete before you left office? So I am surprised that till date, the NPP does not know why the Ghanaian voted them out of power. The Ghanaian out there is very discerning and is looking clearly in the face of President John Dramani Mahama and is pleased with what is happening. However, still expectant that more could be done. It is a 4-year tenure. The government has not even chunked 1 year and a half yet. But there have been significant achievements. You promised that when you actually roll out e-levy, it was going to provide over 100,000 jobs. Today, the very person who said that, Ken Oforiatta, I consider him the hardest of criminals, does not even find favor to want to be in his own country. But he would prefer to be in ICE detention.
But how do you know he's a criminal?
I am not referring to legal criminality, but by English definition, I consider him to be a hardened criminal that must be brought to book. Today, none of them is able to speak to that. Not even the president is able to say that, hey, Ken, Brefie, come and be accountable. So let me state on record, there is no suppression. And Salam here knows. Because Salam wants to go for a next position, he must justify why they lost elections and why their leaders worth their salt. So he said he will organize another demonstration. Will it also be a hunu? Or that will be a new tag?
Okay.
And so it is not about demonstrations and all. Ghanaians have become so discerning. They witness that in the past 80 years, they witnessed things they never imagined. And there's a president who sat for that 8 years.
Okay.
His comeback has now become greater than the setback at the time. And he's delivering on his mandate.
Okay.
Unless they are expecting that everything the NDC promised to deliver must be delivered before the 4-year tenure.
Right.
Even on the last day of your tenure, you are allowed to actually deliver on your mandate. So when he was mentioning the LGBT and all of that,
Okay.
it was a private member's bill.
All right.
And government now is saying that, look, let it be government sponsored. If it comes to the table of the president, he will assent to it.
Okay.
The Speaker of Parliament has also said it, and he has made it very clear
Okay.
that he will not hesitate to transmit this to the president to sign.
Okay.
We recall this country where we live in, same was done. Before it could even be transmitted, a letter was emanating from the presidency saying that please don't bring this letter here, don't bring this bill here, don't bring it close here, don't bring it anywhere close. And we have a vice president who was a Muslim, who could never have his voice heard on his real position on this bill and how his boss was handling the matter. Then today, you're telling us that Ghanaians are being suppressed. Well, if it is the NPP that feels suppressed, then say that you in the NPP feel suppressed. But be bold enough to tell us if you approve of the things some of your members are doing. If you approve of them, then we know the position you hold on that before you talk of the suppression. Because there's no suppression anywhere. I want to state again that the IGP COP Christian Teta Yohono has again demonstrated that not only is he mature and very experienced, he understands what policing is. You know my only concern and worry with the police service, Moro?
Right.
I pray for that time soon, where we shall recruit more young men and women who will be traffic wardens, rather than using state funds to be spent on training policemen only to pass out and be positioned at traffic lights to be controlling traffic.
Okay.
That is the only challenge I have. But as it stands now, the COP, the IGP is doing a fantastic job.
Right.
And I must reiterate, if something was wrong yesterday, it is still wrong today.
Right.
So don't justify that, because that is why I have given you the list of names. Bobie Ansah, Apia Stadium, Manasseh Azuri, Ahmed Swale, who unfortunately even lost his life, Adeti, Bongo Ideas, Sawa Bruni,
Right.
who eventually we all knew had what happened to be a concubine or whatever of the president at the time, and it even resulted in an attempt to even extinguish her life. This is by her own account. Then our own communications officer, Sami Jemfi, who was actually at this from after a program at Peace FM, was just pushed into a vehicle and taken somewhere else. And today you are saying that somebody is being treated like a criminal, taxpayers' money is being wasted to transport him here and there. Oh, since when did you care about money?
All right, let me read a few messages. And then I can go in. So this one here is from Musa Abatwa from Asawase. Sends message, says, good morning. It's quite worrying listening to people like Salam Mustapha. You begin to question whether their position is guided by national interest or mere convenience. Given the level of inconsistency and misinformation, when officials of the NDC were subjected to similar situations, the same voices insisted that the law should be allowed to take its course. What has changed now? Yes, every citizen has a constitutional right to demonstrate, and that must be respected. However, not every demonstration reflects sound judgment or serves a meaningful purpose. Some actions, unfortunately, only expose poor reasoning and a clear lack of discretion. Tafa in Amraya says, good morning, Audu. Send and your guest, Audu, ask Captain Smart why he was arrested. Ask Ohenebo Ama Bene. Audu, this MP guys still don't come to terms with unprecedented defeat they went through in the hands of Ghanaians. Samuel Brian Boabeng says, good morning, Moro. Elikem was and still is one of the most irresponsible people on social media. Yet no one has taken him on. This government has failed in all facets of the economy, hence his coup mentality. They can cow those they can cow and buy those they can buy, but we will be there, uncowed and unbought, dishing out checks and balances on this obviously clueless government. This backwardness must stop. I can assure them that whatever they do to our people, we will respond even more strongly in the future. Samuel Brian Boabeng. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, good morning, my brother Mo. Let's call a spade and stop beating around the bush. Truth be told, I have a problem with this issue of all executives of the party must resign their position if they have to be re-elected into office. More, I'll tell you without any fear or favor. We'll visit our headquarters today and see things for yourself. National officers who are supposed to receive the opinions and problems from party functionaries to be addressed are nowhere to be found, and that's a fact. Those of us who are behind the scenes speaking for and defending the party are not being appreciated. Some of us use our monies we beg from individuals to buy data to defend the party all the time without a help from anyone. They don't even pick your calls to even listen to you. Some of our appointees have become so power drunk that they have no respect for anyone. More, are you aware that some of our colleagues are now speaking and defending NPP because they have been recruited and given monies to do so? And he says, I can provide you with names. Let's get up and do the right things at the right time and the wrong at the wrong times. I greet and salute you, my brother Elikem. You know Alhaji Hamza? You know Alhaji Hamza? You know
yes, I do.
Yes,
I do.
He's one of the social media, what I'll call the social media.
I understand them, and it's a concern we have actually addressed, which is why he's raising it. And I mean, Moro, look at, for instance, not as I'm in the studio, I have received 16 calls. How will I pick them?
You're going to pick it.
You get it. So, but
they
have very genuine concerns.
Yes. So Peter T from Shukra says, good morning, Moro. Peter T from Shukra. Moro, the NPP man is alluding to the fact that he and his Nana Amia party are stubborn. Moro, Ghanaians were aware of their stubbornness, and as a result, they lost elections. They should stop being arrogant when they address the people of this beautiful country we have. We have currently moved away from politics of destruction and arrogance. Moro, my reckless talk. Any reckless talk by politicians like the NPP man in your studio that may spark fears and tensions in our future political development must cease. We need to establish an authenticity of publications that inject peace, but not NPP provocative ideas. We don't need their polarized economic contributions any longer. John Mahama, Ayuko. This one here from Sam Aku Kelly from East Legon Hills. This is good morning, Moro. I wonder what our brother Salam is so agitated and ruffling feathers about this morning. Has President Mahama refused to sign any LGBTQ plus bill brought before him from Parliament like former President Akufo-Addo did? Or has JM's personal secretary written to anyone to resist and seize the transmission of any LGBTQ plus bill from Parliament to the presidency as Akufo-Addo and Nana Bediato did? Yes. There are no children. Yes, there are no children in the NPP, as he keeps repeating this morning. So it is that there are no children in the Ghanaian public who are keenly watching and listening to them daily. It's amazing that the NPP failed in government and are still failing in opposition. Ghana deserves a better alternative for our forward movement as a country. Reverend Samuel J says, good morning. And as much as I do agree that certain things must not be used just for political gains, it is also important to note that every step by any government official is part of the political process. That's why one must be careful in what they say or what to do. Let us work hard to solve our political differences and build Ghana for all of us. Stay blessed. Fuseli Donko says I should say hello to you, the Deputy National Service Coordinator. Oh. Yes, he says...
He's a troublesome brother.
Now, Hardy from Pig Farm says, good morning, brother. Intimidators are talking about intimidation. Dr. Bami and his MVP and his nagging People's Party should know that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is very much on course and focused on executing the restart agenda, and I will not waste his precious time on intimidating the NPP. Good morning to Dr. Ibrahim Mahama and my brother Elikem Kotoko Umar. Tell Elikem to look for his brother Small. And let me say, yes.
Okay.
This one here from, okay, so happy birthday. So Sunny Salus as oral, as we all know, is brainstorming collective archive of perceived wrongdoings by NPP appointees at the time. Now, it has its own lifespan and is already dead per the reason it was created. Through brainstorming, the prosecutable ones have been separated from the chaff, and that's enough. For many of us, it has served the very purpose it was created for. Remember, it has a very limited scope to bite. Salam should relax. Good morning. That's Sally who sent that message. Now, okay, so I guess that, gentlemen, we only have 6 minutes. Otherwise, they'll take us off. So I'll just split the 6 minutes for the two of you to share. 3 minutes each, which is in conclusion. Salam, what does thou sayest? That's what
Let me set the timer so he doesn't exceed his 3 minutes.
Yes, we're going to time him. Yeah, we're going to time him. Yes. Salam.
More.
Yes.
I am not surprised. My brother is sounding like a broken record. tried old campaign rhetorics. You are still behaving like you are in opposition. Wake up to the smell of the coffee. You are in government, you are in power. You campaign on the platform of research that we were bad. Everything we did was wrong. So you are coming to do something different. So if you said we did this and we promised one district, one factory and blah, 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 that's why the Ghanaian people voted for you. Good. So you are absolutely incompetent to come and sit here and say that we didn't do A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth, when in actual sense, we were voted out for you to come and do better than you are currently doing. And for the records, your party is sinking just like the way your government is sinking. So it is not as though we have failed as executives and looking for an avenue, to maintain our positions or return. That is why we are advocating, for what is wrong. No, we are taking you by your word. The things you said, your campaign, that what is right must be done. So if indeed what the NPP was doing, arrest whoever, Bobie, Sami Jemfi, if you thought that all these things were wrong, right, you would come and not repeat them and show greater standard. But mind you, in terms of reckless rhetorics, language, everything, you people did your worst in opposition. You yourself. You once wrote and wished the president dead. You did. Nobody arrested you. But the NPP was in government. Nobody handed you for it. The president sat on TV, an interview, and said the president was, being, taken care, would be taken care by his brothers because his brothers were thieves. They were going to steal from him. The current president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, it came out of his mouth. He was able to say that and mention names, Gabi, Bomti, and Bedieto. He called them thieves. All that was taken in good faith. You people called Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia all sorts of names. And we tolerated it. Another Donkwe Kufado, all sorts of names. And even these songs for him. Kumnana Domayen, Kumna Domayen. All of it, we tolerated it. You called in Nebuchadnezzar. Today, the John Mahama that was presented to us as a sage.
The time is up.
As a sage. As the return of Kwame Nkrumah's second independence. Today is far worse off, not just reckless. What we are seeing in Ghana today. Umaru, are journalists not being beaten in this country? Let me take you to Joy FM. Your colleagues, City FM, your colleagues have been beaten under this administration. Recently, we saw how your Deputy Chief of Staff, Stan Dugbe, shoved off a military officer doing his job, who obviously is a media person. No rebuke, no reprimand, nothing. Okay. And you are talking of a standard. Where is the standard? You guys are absolutely incompetent. You are not just reckless, you are hopeless, and that you are running down this country. Look, young people have been scammed. All the promises you made, Agenda 133, 24-hour economy,
your time is up.
Failed them. Every single promise, oral, galamsey, every single thing you promised the good people of Ghana, you have failed.
All right. Elikem, please come in. You also have 3 minutes.
Moro.
Yes, sir.
Let me place on record and that I don't post things that I don't have conviction in.
Right.
And so when my brother made a reference, let me tell him here again, maybe remind his people. That is why I don't shy away from the things I post on social media. You recall the passing of the late Professor Mills and Koko Anyidoho and all of that, and even Jerry Rollins. I did post that the way this man is handling these matters, his own will be miserable. And I did say that and I still stand by it. So let me put it on record. There's nothing reckless about that, and ever to say that it meant wishing somebody death. But I'm not surprised. These are people who understood review to mean cancel. So comprehension is a completely different thing to them.
But if you have
where is the position? What was
we should have spoken about the feeding matter. That there's no food in schools.
It's been resolved. It's been resolved. It's been resolved.
But look,
it's
not the first time it is happening. It's not.
Don't chop
Since
it.
you came in,
don't chop it this time. Don't chop it this time. Elikem, please go
Well,
ahead. Don't chop it this time.
Do you know that for 8 years when our schools were running, maintenance was a major problem? You go to schools today and rodents were living with our students in their classrooms, in their dormitories, etc. So don't even try to talk about schools at all. The mess you caused in the name of free SHS, which you didn't plan for and hastily just implemented in order to score a political point, by which you have actually decided to churn out substandard graduates or substandard students, which has compromised the quality of our education for quantity. Don't let us even go there. Where is the like of Gabi Ochedako? Bumped,
right here.
The same people we talked about.
all of them are here.
These were people who never really were given any roles, but we know the benefits they have made from your government. I leave it up to you and your party folks to decide on that, because it shouldn't be any of my business. I do not have to go and seek any help from Gabi. You see what Ibrahim Mahama is doing? What kind of... Look, Moro, as we sit here today, I am happy that President Mahama continues to demonstrate that he is not only a listening leader, but he's a visionary nation builder who understands how things ought to be done. And he's taking it one at a time. So when you say a government has failed, what is the measuring rod you are using to say it has failed? In a year of service? In 15 months? A government that has not even chalked half 50% of its tenure yet? Which if you conduct, if you conduct a poll,
says that you people are just doing it.
there has, look, anything you talk, I can give you proper responses. As we speak today, there has been an appropriate response and fight on Galamsey, willingness to fight Galamsey, than there ever was in the past.
That's not true.
Go, just, you know what, for anybody, I'm not, you see, what the president said, if you need it, you see, when the president speaks, unlike in the past, when your big wigs speak, it needs to be translated. We do not need translators for whatever the president says, because
So the president should arrest them.
clear language.
You should arrest
He's
them.
telling you that when tables turn, people try to want to now take possessions and say, okay, I am now
swallowed you people.
So since when did you know about this?
It's more
About
worse
Galamsey.
than it was before.
Go, anybody watching us, just type hashtag Galamsey update. Just hashtag Galamsey
You have
update.
not done anything new.
I am just giving
9 months.
So, Dr.
Operation
Clement,
Cowleg, whatever.
Dr. Clement
You see.
Attācks has responded to the claim you made earlier about the fact that there's some starvation in the schools, you know, and it says it is not true. There's no and has never been any food shortage in our secondary school. Dr. Clement Attācks, the Deputy Education Minister, he says
Right.
not
Am
true.
I a member of CHAS? It was CHAS before
Charles
talking.
who said it. Okay.
I'm not CHAS.
All right, gentlemen. I guess that
By my brother Clement Attācks to direct that to CHAS. They should release money to them. And, you know, not come on TV and say something is not true. When people are hungry, our children are hungry there in school.
okay.
You see,
yes.
so that is why it is very problematic.
30 seconds.
But it is never surprising
Give your
because
people jobs.
one,
That's what they want.
yes, the government is creating jobs, and that is why I told you that communication
They
is
say
key,
people
relationship
are
is
running away from
paramount,
them.
and management.
So
because
discover-
you need to manage that to be able to engage always.
Very important. So Discover MSC Group, your number one partner in minerals and food commodity trading.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.